Okay, so, all right, we're calling the April planning board meeting to order. We all set, it's nice to have the internet back. Um. First thing up, is we have the public hearing for the American Legion / Tower Pizza application. Vicky, is there anything, are you participating in this? Or are you recusing?
No, I'm fine.
You're participating. Okay.
Lights.
All right. So if the applicant, maybe just can, come up here and give us a little, just, song and dance.
Wesley.
Song and dance. Boy.
Yeah. I hope everybody, the lights came back on for everybody after Tuesday. Exciting times, exciting times. So we came before you last month. It was explained that Tower Pizza and the Legion had come into an agreement as parking has become an issue and has been an issue in town for quite a while. And the American Legion to make a little money and went into a lease with Tower Pizza to rent them a little portion, which was already a portion of the parking lot was blacktop already for, yeah, I used to play in preschool on that, or the playground there. So it's been there for a long time. So they expand the parking lot. They do go to the building inspector and have an off of cuff conversation. There was a feeling that there was not a need for a site plan approval. There were a few complaints to the building inspector, the former building inspector, and it was decided the best thing for the applicant to do was come before the board, get a site plan approval. But anybody that had any concerns or wanted to speak their mind, be able to speak their mind. One of the issues that came up was the possibility of stormwater control, and I explained to the board at the last meeting after a couple visits, I did not see any problems there. I did get a letter from George. George had visited the site. He must have felt the same way as I read in his letter, but I don't want to paraphrase for you at all. A couple things that George did notice was the end of the post and rail fence is open on the northern side, and he suggested having a gate to prevent any vehicle traffic try to drive through there. So on the map or the site plan approval site plan, we added a gate in that area. Also, we had talked about lightings and to George's recommendation in the letter, we added proposed location of low output lighting with notes of each of low output lighting will be installed on the existing fence separating the newly constructed gravel parking lot and the outdoor beer garden space. No light shall spill over on the American Legion post, backyard, or any adjacent residential properties. Also, what we had talked about is that if all the snow was pushed to the northern end of the parking lot, that it could cause an issue. Note number 2 or number 1 specifies that there is no stormwater adverse effects, and that all snow piling and plowing should not be piled on the north end of the property as per the site plan. With that, the only other issues going through my notes from last meeting was we wanted to put on the approximate septic system for the American Legion, which you'll see as the circle to the north and west of the house there. With that, I'd invite anybody from the public.
Okay, we'll open the public hearing now.
Yep.
So
Take a look at it if they'd like to take a look.
can I have a motion to open the public hearing?
A motion, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, is there any members of the public that are here looking to speak on this application?
Well, I've got a question, but
Sure.
I'd rather wait here the entire
Well, this is the time for the public to speak on this application. So after if no one's speaking, we will close the public hearing.
There's a couple things to clarify. I don't believe that there was ever an existing parking lot there. You said it was extending the existing car. There wasn't a parking lot. There was a cage area that had a pavilion over it. And it was used by the American Legion. I think, Maria, if I'm correct. That was used.
Been used.
No, I know it hasn't been, but there was the thing.
Let's stop.
It was used as a playground for, because it was never really a parking.
Okay, if I
Although
misspoke,
there was a paved surface.
Or let's keep the comments towards the board and then we'll,
It's a new parking. I'm the property immediately to the north of the American.
so you're Mr. Benson, is that who you
Yeah,
are? Okay.
right on the corner. So, I'm just, concerned about extra lighting, because there is a lot of lighting there already at the garden, and then if there's additional lights, so I'm concerned about that. Concerned maybe there could be some sort of screening that could, keep noise and light down, because I'm right there. I'm the, I meet right there right in the northeast corner, so. But I'm just, I'm surprised because the parking lot's been there for 10 months. So I'm surprised that you're just having a public hearing on it now. I was surprised when I got the notice. Because it's been in existence and been being used for since I think last meeting. So. I thought this had been all hashed out, but apparently not.
No, so if you check the record for last month's meeting, you'll see that the building inspector and myself was approached outside of hours and asked about it, and I said, I thought it's just gravel down, it's probably okay, but I'm gonna check with the engineer. And I went and I checked with George, and he was like, no, gravel's an impervious surface. It did appear, it was put in without approval. The building inspector then notified the property owner and the business owner that they have to come to the board. And we also then changed building inspectors in the middle of this, so, now, that's why we are here
The
now.
last thing I want to do is create a problem for the American Legion that could use the extra money. Do you understand that? And, it's an existing business there, and there's nothing I can do there, but just, I need to protect my property as well, and that's all. I'm not here to create problems. I'm just here to, maybe we could, if there was some communication, maybe we could resolve some issues, that's all.
Is that's your fence that's there? Correct.
My fence on the north end, yes.
Okay. Does any other members of the public have any comment? Do any of the board members have comments, maybe questions for the neighbor?
I was actually gonna ask Wesley, he said that.
I'm sorry?
He said that the lighting that would be there would be yellow. Can you describe it a little bit of what you actually had?
My feeling is like you say, Mr. Benson, it's been there since June. If the lighting is
There's no light. They're not having a problem. Why do we need additional light?
right, so what this does off the cuff is it protects the board and says they recommended low output lighting, and that way they're not at fault for any reason. It says it should be on the site plan, so then if anything happened, it's there. Then it's up to the business owner and the homeowner or the owner, whether they feel that what is there is adequate and safe to their standards. So you've covered yourself, I've covered myself, and then it's up to those.
Well, if it's on the site plan, it's gonna have to be there. Yeah. So George, what can we hear your thoughts on the light?
So like Wesley said, it's really a legality issue, right? If you approve a parking lot that's not lit and somebody trips, falls, there's an accident, and somebody says it wasn't lit, if you approve it, parking lot's supposed to have minimum lighting, yada, yada. You guys know the site a lot better than I went there during the day so I could check for stormwater impacts, right? I needed to be able to see. If you say that, you guys have all been there and based on, your experience, it's well lit and it doesn't need additional lighting, then the parking lot is lit. And that's why I said low output, put it on the fence, right? Don't spill over, because I don't want Walmart. We don't need a Walmart parking lot. I just need kind of wayfinding, like people need to be able to get to their car, right? But if it's already lit to that extent, and it's already safe to go back there,
They have,
then that
some-
requirement's not, you know what I'm saying?
they have some strings, some like Christmas lights on there, which don't illuminate too much, but gives it enough that you're not walking in the dark. You can see where you're putting your feet.
They were but they're in the garden, right?
On top of the fence there.
So again, that's that minimum lighting is what we're looking for. And then again, if it's already there, if the site's already lit minimally, again, I would obviously yield to your guys' local knowledge of the site and how it's used and whatnot.
Could I, add a little something here?
I'll have you, okay, well, why don't, since you didn't get to speak yet.
Too late. Fair try to light, appreciate it. Well, it might have been a little late.
And you are, by the way?
Want additional lighting?
We're talking about the,
Just clear.
we're talking about whether or not lighting is required. Would be required to make a safe parking lot in that area along the fence, like some low output wayfinding lights.
Additional to what's currently there? Or
Yes, it would be additional, yes,
additional, like,
yes. Along the fence. Yes,
The garden fence, not
What do you think?
the fence between the garden and the parking.
And,
Do you have an opinion on that? You can express your opinion.
what also the note does is it says if there's any light that spills over into the American Legion backyard or any adjoining neighbors, then it's no good. And you go to the building inspector as a neighbor and it's gotta come down and they gotta figure out what they gotta put up to do it right. So it covers the neighbors, it covers the owners, and it covers the town.
If we could resolve it before we got to that point, it'd be a lot easier. though.
Well, that would be looking at the zone.
Okay, all right, everyone, all right, stop. Let's keep the public hearing going as it should be.
just comes back to my original.
Yes, go ahead.
Just clarification, so do you want to add additional lighting or do you mandate them to add?
We're considering it.
Currently?
We're considering it. Based upon the recommendations of our engineer, we are taking that in our own observations, we will make a decision.
So our own engineer wants to add additional lighting, is that what?
He's having us consider it. Okay, so what your opinion is you don't feel there shouldn't be. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
It's a nuisance to the neighbors in the area, I'm adjacent to it, so. I don't really feel additional lighting, I mean, I've gone back there so many times, I mean, it's not my property, and I'm not a lawyer. Okay, but I don't feel that additional lighting in town, either high sodium or low sodium bulbs or LED bulbs, or any type of low illumination. Will benefit, probably just creating additional costs for the homeowner and the business people, that might be unnecessary. I don't know if the legality of this will be required that the town would be, I guess, exonerated from any legal action. Based off of that, I'm not a lawyer, but as a resident, I really, my family really love what all the Michigan made me.
where you're behind, you're like next to Mr. Benson or something, or?
Yeah, Lou is directly north of me.
Oh, I see.
So,
Okay, and you were gonna say something, Mr. Benson.
well, the other thing is, I will, they talked about some groundwater and some runoff. In my backyard, there is a little swale back there and I will get it will puddle there. So when we have a lot of rain and what have you, normal. Hasn't been an issue, but raising that parking lot as they have could. And I'd be a little concerned, because it had, obviously they took the topsoil and then came in with a gravel base and everything. So it did raise it some. So,
And that was the main concern of the board, why we said, hey, you guys gotta come here.
yeah, that could be corrected with a little swale on the north side, or something to direct it away from.
If I may ask a question, in the 6 months since it has been there, have you noticed more water?
I haven't, no, but of course, it's just gravel. If it goes to a more impervious surface. I don't know what plans are in the future, if there's a plan for any kind of blacktopping or anything like that. That could create additional problems, because again, then you're adding another layer on top of the existing layer. Adds a little more height and could, that's all. I'm just.
No, you're right.
Talking about
And that's why this is only, we were only approving a gravel
the later and.
lot. George, you want to talk on the water and what you saw at the location?
Yeah, so, I mean, according to the New York State DEC, which, controls the stormwater regulations, I guess it's important to point out that this does not require a stormwater permit, it doesn't raise to that level. But they do consider gravel to be impervious, unless you're a solar farm. Yeah, of course.
Please.
So, for that reason, we
Shall
have to
not
go
mention that.
and just take a, because it has been there. So the best way to figure it out is to go look at it. And when I went and looked at it, and it was after, we had some rains, there was no visual evidence or signs of, heavy or any really water moving that direction. Obviously, it does slope that way. I'm sure the water goes that direction. But there's no, real erosion. There's no channels being cut into anything, which would be what you would see if there was an excessive amount of water moving there. There's no pile of fines next to the fence or anything like that. So again, I think that would just kind of go along with what the neighbor was saying. I don't think there was a significant amount of water going there that wasn't going there before. This area is very excessively well drained. I think that really helps you a lot in getting rid of that water. Again, if it was blacktop, you probably would get a little additional water over what you're getting now for sure. But if it has gravel, I think it'd be fine.
And we are only approving as gravel.
It doesn't preclude something from happening later if there was an issue from that being cited and fixed.
And I do know the applicant saying they have been not piling snow against that fence. They've been making sure it goes the other way.
Well, we haven't had a lot of snow fortunately. No, I haven't seen it.
George, what about over time? Like, it has to be resurfaced, it has to be graded and more stones put down. But over time, could that happen?
Well, anything's possible, but again, we're approving the site plan as is and
So that is,
not, they're not proposing an asphalt parking lot there now, and they're not proposing putting a different material there now to make it less pervious, shall we say, right? If they were to do that, that would arguably be a change to the site plan, and that would be similar to anything else in the town. Code enforcement would be able to cite them for such a
So,
thing.
but in like 5 years, they're like, oh, a lot of the gravel got plowed away and stuff, and they want to put some more down. That shouldn't affect things.
Just putting gravel down shouldn't really affect it. Resurfacing the gravel should be fine.
all right, so now
Because
that I have to disagree with. Because I can tell you in the front parking lot. It's been built up so far that now, and. I mean, I deal with it. I have a drain in
Sure.
my driveway.
Yep.
But you could have seen today, it runs, I have 3 streams that come from the front driveway.
Mm-hmm.
Curls around the fence and goes into my yard.
Well, again,
And
if
that's- so that-
raising this
I mean,
parking lot here, in other words, if you were to put another 2 inches on there or 3 inches on there.
But that's what happens in the front.
Right, but you gotta think of the topography of the area.
Okay.
So this is sheeting this way. So if we raise this uniformly, it still sheets this way. Arguably, raising this prevents water from here from hitting it. It'll hit here and go someplace else, like I think this way. If I remember when I was there, which would end up probably in your yard. But it wouldn't go there. So I mean, it depends where you're doing it and what you're doing. Again,
But that's what I'm trying to say is similar to any place else. Not just here, but any place.
Prevents and
If somebody changes their parking lot or changes something on their site that adversely affects an adjoining property owner. That's when you're supposed to code enforcement. And they go out and look at it and hopefully everything gets resolved. Again, if you keep raising things, it's similar to a roadway, right? You get to a point where you can't just put 1.5 inches of tops down anymore. And that's when you come in and mill everything down and you start over again, you build up. Parking lots, driveways, they're the same. If you just keep building on top of them over time, right?
Right,
It'll get to a point where that height doesn't work for either the person doing it or the adjoining people, and you need to do a more expensive rehab at that point, dig it out. But there's no way to that's just normal operation and maintenance over time. There's no way to. You know, account for that on a day one type of a site plan application.
All right, is there any one else that has comments from the public on this? Members, do you have any comments? Did everyone get to visit the site?
Yes,
Did you go at night?
I didn't go at night, so my question
I was there.
is it sufficient
Oh,
lights
yeah.
at night?
I was there
for
at
that?
dusk.
Some
It's,
yeah, that's,
Yeah.
it's.
But can I just,
Mhm.
during the summer, so from. What is it? May,
Memorial Day.
Memorial Day. to that.
well, before that,
Halloween.
beginning of May till November. With the lights out back. The string lighting. My backyard is,
Sufficient.
I don't need lights in my backyard. No, I don't care.
Yeah.
So it would be the same for the parking lot, but if they put in low lights along the fence that didn't shine up or they had lamp, I think. That would be, that would be okay. Those months, it's fine. Maybe just in the winter months, you might need some lighting, but during at least 6 months. And there.
Well, yeah, because there's a portion of the year where the garden's not open.
Right. well,
and
that's
those
what I'm
lights-
saying.
Did-
For
Jeff,
6
do those
months.
lights go on when the garden's not open? Is there any? No.
But there's also not. Excuse me,
It's capable to have them on.
Hmm.
but there's also not a lot of. The parking tends to occur, obviously, when the garden is open. So am I right, Jeff? It probably gets more heavily used when the garden is open than it does now. I mean,
Yes.
I know I see there'll be 5 or 6 cars maybe there in that parking area now. But once the garden is open on the weekends, then of course that'll increase the parking, but that's in the summer when there's already lighting there. So.
There's a light at the corner. There's a light in front of Webb Travels that shines back there. I didn't think the lighting was a big deal personally.
Ample amount of lighting.
There, I mean,
Requiring them to install lighting, depending on whatever type of year it is, time of year. I think that's what the point. I don't know the value issues, but I mean, over there. I don't think we need to do, I think,
I don't.
I could see, I could see into that parking.
There is
Additional lighting.
Okay, thank you. Vicky?
There is a light. Jeff, what happened to the light? Where the split rail fences by the trees? That doesn't work anymore.
That's,
I
yeah,
mean, I know
since
that.
I've been there, that's never worked.
Oh, okay.
But also if that were to work, that would be much more spillover, like
Yeah.
then it's having just like
But not if they put.
these low little lights along the fence, like how many would be needed?
Any 3 tops. But like I said, it's
You could put 'em-
minimum lighting that we're looking for. We're not looking to make them do a lighting plan, which is usually what we do with engineering, right? Because this is a very minimalistic type of a site plan. I don't think it's warranted. And that's why I'm saying you guys can rely as a board on your local knowledge of the site and the use. If you believe that that is minimally lit and safe as it is,
Warren,
you know what I'm saying?
can you comment on this as far as, somebody trips and falls in the future, like what is our story?
No liability.
No liability, so we use our judgment saying that we think there's enough light there. All right, any other comments anyone have?
I went out there after it rained 3 inches in like 36 hours and I didn't see any water collecting along the fence. I went out there with a ski pole. Poke my own holes.
Hmm.
It didn't seem particularly damp. It still slopes into your property
Yeah.
more, Mr.
Well, the
Benson,
water-
so I couldn't see
well,
back behind.
The water, it will puddle in an area of my backyard. So you didn't necessarily see it against, I'm just concerned that if it got built up too high, there could be, right now.
As built, as
I haven't
proposed.
seen any difference than I would normally, but like I said, if it was ever built up further, it could. That's all.
Well, it won't, and they'd have to come to us if they want to put asphalt. All right, does any other members of the public have any comments?
You know, in regards to lighting, you know, if anybody, including myself, thought that lighting was, you know, required or needed, you know, we can look at maybe there's lighting that could just be on the bottom of that split rail fence. You know, that just stayed low. You know, I think, you know, if it's dark enough outside, you know, I think people are watching what's on the ground, you know, there's nothing up high, you know.
If we were to not approve, not require lighting,
Any light
right?
that,
And then,
lights existing in the garden, I think, go that way already.
Yes,
Uh,
I do.
but, you know, like Mr. Benson, I think is, you know, and this gentleman here might be worried about additional time,
Understood.
like. I don't intend to.
The area don't want it, it's already, yeah.
so, okay, so Jeff, so.
I mean, I haven't seen them, but I would.
Could I just read my note that's on the site?
One second, please, let me just finish it. So Jeff, so if we don't approve, if we don't include lighting.
Yep.
And then you do find, oh, maybe I'm gonna need lighting, you do have to come back to us.
Yeah.
Okay, just, so we're clear.
Yeah, I just want to spend. Gentlemen, I know that my intent is not to put, you know, street lamps up. You know, but if lighting is needed or suggested, you know, probably something on the bottom of the fence. I haven't seen them, but I imagine that it's a product that exists.
Yeah,
you know,
that's your, yes,
Something that shoots out, you know, straight and on the ground, you know.
Just. with
So
a-
I really like George's his word uses in his letter. So if I plagiarize, I apologize, George. But on the site plan, what I thought would be appropriate for the board and for the owner, what would make sense. And to be able to use common sense of what's out there. We don't want to make the neighbors mad. We don't want too much lighting. We don't want not enough. Was to be able to have the flexibility. So the note that George had made, which I kind of followed and put on the site plan, says low output lighting to be installed on the existing fence separating the newly constructed gravel parking lot and the outdoor beer garden space. No light shall spill over onto the American Legion Post backyard or any adjacent residential properties. And that low output lighting could be the lighting that's already existing that they're using in the summer months. It's is the same, one and the same. So I just wanted to read that out loud so everybody knew it was on the site.
but we would have additionally make sure it's. You know, if they were to put in lighting, it would, you know, we would want it to have it shielded from. You know, whatever's a dark sky compliant, so it doesn't shoot up, it only goes down like.
But
Wayfinder, and also, we would want it 3,000 Kelvin or less.
well, that's low output, right? And that means no spill over. on
Well, it's
the
also the
site.
color temperature, you know, matters. Okay,
Can I just mention one other thing?
Sure.
You know, Vicky brought up, you know, her backyard being lit, you know, like, you know, Vicky, over the next day or two, maybe we should, you know. Get out there and, you know, maybe I could lower that string light just a foot and a half.
Doesn't bother me in the backyard. I mean,
Okay,
it's kind of nice, actually.
Yeah.
I can look out back and I don't have. I don't have to.
but right now they are up on the.
yeah, that's great.
Let's say, it's like a trellis, you know, so
Mhm.
that light kind of goes through.
So if he doesn't want to put light, then why would you want to add? additional-
Well, guys, we went over that, all right, so, it's a recommendations of our engineer and then our opinion based upon our visit, as you heard, we're gonna make that decision. But, and we appreciate your view on it, that you're concerned, you don't want light spilling more out than more light spilling out than it already is. And yet you're saying you're affected 2 houses over as, you're affected 2 houses over as it is.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, I thought, well, right, it's,
even ambient light, you want to say 20. The goal one would be increase ambient light. Can you think about it? But like one, that's fine. Then put 30 of them going down a row of 100 foot long stretch. But let's say put one each post
I think we said three.
Oh,
But yeah, but we understand, we hear you. And anyone else with any more comments? Okay, with that, can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
A motion?
Second.
Ethan second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the public hearing is now closed. First thing I want to talk about is the waivers. Are we good with what they're asking for, George, as far as on the site plan requirements as this looks now, this is good enough for what we need to do. Warren, what are you, is anything you're seeing or anything further you want to hear or see?
I'm fine with it.
There's the lease, you have a lease agreement or something you need to see for the, no,
Maintenance.
yeah, okay, maintenance, no maintenance, nothing like that. Okay. Oh, and whoa, I almost, so the gate, so you guys are gonna put that gate in or something to,
Sure. If that's what they want, that's what I do.
Well, it was just a suggestion, not, not required.
Can I measure?
Yeah.
Or camping?
Yeah,
You know-
not a required.
You know, believe it or not, one of the band members did squeeze a car through.
Or you can fit.
Like I say, but they had to work at it to do it.
Doesn't matter to
Right,
us.
do it.
And
But that would be.
In between the split rail and the.
It's gonna say it might be cheaper to go find a giant rock up on the mountain and put it there.
well, yeah, if the Legion doesn't care about getting through that space, put a rock or something.
I'll put a flower planter there.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, that's fine, just, you just don't want someone coming out, and what else? So I guess there's nothing else. So what do we have to do here, Warren? We have to vote on the waivers?
Yeah, where are the waivers noted on the site plan? So I know.
We have memo from the applicant, right? You send us do you have that letter? You need you need that noted on the site plan, or just gonna be attached?
Need something that I can work from to indicate in the resolution.
For the resolution. So I sent an email, which what I did, which I can forward it to you, but I color coded the red ones, which would be the waivers, and this is just a list off of the zoning. And so you'll know exactly which ones we waived, and those were the ones that we talked about at the last meeting. I went through in detail. But I can send that to Trish and she can forward it on to you and it'll make much more sense, because it is color coded, but I forget which color means what. right now.
It would be helpful if indicated.
Yes, I'll send that forward, that to Trish, and then she can get it right on to you.
And then let's make sure that what's on there matches.
Yes.
Okay, so this is no secret.
Let's take a vote on directing me to prepare. Which was doing with it.
Can I have a motion that states?
Before that,
Oh,
let's
yes,
talk about lighting.
all
I
right,
would say we don't require any more lighting. Let
okay.
it go.
I agree with Dick.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with
But should they choose to put any on, do they have to come back to?
that. Yes.
Mhm.
Oh,
So
yeah.
then make that specified. I'm fine.
Will they have to come back to us if both parties just say, oh, Jeff said, hey, I'm gonna add a light,
Not, yes,
bring the neighbor
He's
over
gone.
and say, it's here,
no,
No?
they have to come back.
just gotta check.
So that's
box,
the
gotta
policy.
check the box.
In fact, we're waiting for someone who put up lights to come see us right now, so we're not gonna.
Okay,
So if that just goes in the resolution, that'll be good, or
Yeah, we'll just put it in the resolution. Oh, but what, do we want to change low?
And number 3 has to be taken on the site.
right.
Yeah, we need to, you already printed all this, but yeah, if you could take number 3 off,
White out.
I was gonna say,
however we can do it, at least.
redact,
do you want me, if I'm taking it off,
redact,
printing some out again, do you want me to just write on that any additional lighting will require site plan
Amendment.
amendment?
Amended site approval. Amended site plan approval. and maybe you want to change number 2 to propose gate or other obstruction. Or other appropriate, as deemed fit by the, yep. Yeah.
Could put a piece of artillery there or something.
There you go.
The Legion. Yeah.
Okay, so everyone's good with no lighting. Can I now have a motion to direct Warren to draft a resolution for next month with the as we've stated here?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It's passed unanimously. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for coming and going through this process and.
You want a few 1-2 trucks or you want just a new one?
Somebody lost my pen.
Yeah, I did.
That's your pen.
Wesley, we need 2 for the file.
So 2 of the finals.
Yeah.
Yes.
For the.
Sorry.
No, it's
Now,
even me.
that's how I roll, bro.
I like it.
Now you can roll.
No pun intended, right?
Certainly are always.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for being here. Bye. Next up. Next up is the Chickadee Slaughterhouse.
So are you there?
Over here so the camera can catch you. Yes. Let's just wait till they file out.
Stories. Where are you? No. I'm just gonna hang out here on the table, but. What's that?
It's me handing out beacon.
Well, if they're kind of big, everybody wants.
No.
We can.
Like that's probably enough. Yep. George, did you get this in the did you get a look at this yet or no? Yes.
Am I the email?
Yes.
Yeah.
You got his one.
Well, I thought the letter he did the letter you did after you looked at this? Or is this updated since the last time you were here?
It's updated since the last time we were here, but not since.
Oh.
So it was updated based on the requirements of the code and then looks like that. That's it. No, sure. And also they just comments. So again. If there was your guys' room as well, if your truck is full, so you're making tonight.
Does he want to talk at all? Right.
Yeah, if you like.
I guess if you want to talk, Matt, unmute yourself and speak up when you do.
I will let Alex handle this. He's there and he's great. So thank you.
Okay.
So we have updated the plan, what we gave you last time.
Yes.
That updated the plan pursuant to the code requirements, look at it. I can walk you through the plan. It's not really much change in terms of design from what we did look at before, but obviously some of the attachments are required in your code and many of the details on the plan that are required in your code were updated. There was one section of the site plan requirements that were doing. You tell me if you want me to go through the points in your letter or if you have some more specific questions on the plans. I know one question that came up last time was that what are these big circles? The plan. Actually, it's kind of related to the topography question. This section of the plan is drawn from a much larger drawing of the entire 240 some odd acre parcel. And these notes, these circles are just noting survey points of the property boundaries. So they're just kind of reference numbers, you know, on the big plans, kind of list where all the survey boundary marker points are. And those circles are just kind of left over, like over the blow up with that thing. You can take them off, but they're ruleless too.
Okay, yeah, we just didn't know what they were.
Yeah, I didn't read it. So you still have to read and read it. Right.
So, if you want, I can kind of go through the first and do it this letter. Or if you want George to explain what his questions were, and then I can respond, or if you have any, questions on the secretary. And they don't, the way the health report code requires. And George noted that you was looking for topography that with 2 foot contour interval lines. I mean, he hasn't tried to that with the setup. If you did it with 2 foot, you wouldn't be able to like see anything else in the plan. And the site is pretty flat. There's not really an awful lot, like, we're not affecting any steep slopes. There's not really an awful lot of grading, so we would ask for a waiver on that. And we show some capacity, we're just asking for a waiver on the 2 foot interval. There's just not much disturbance.
Good with that?
And again, it was a thing. It's gonna be following neighborhood.
What's it?
And L is a house, right?
Yes.
And like, and the store is at like 106 or between 106 and 106, these two folks?
So. The store is over here, the store shipped off.
It's off the map.
Yeah, I don't think it's shown. Yeah.
So the store is not on this parcel.
No. Separate property. Stores on Sugar Hill.
It's the house. That's the house.
Yeah. Was this the gray house or the red house?
Yeah, the little, where this little notch on the property.
Bonneville's house.
Oh, Bonneville's, okay. And the wrong house.
The red, you mean across the street?
I had the house
No,
going
things
up
like-
there.
Oh, well, no. So can we pull up George's letter, please? Have you started
This is,
any of the other permit applications, like with the Department of Health or with DOT?
I think that we wanted to, we understand that they're going under that conditions, certainly to the building, and we also wanted to make them a condition of approval. But I think that the applicants wanted it to at least be on the public hearing, the site plan approval, but the actual permit, that is the permit applications. Matt, I don't know if you want to chime in on that, but that's my understanding of where we're at.
Yeah, that's correct. That's our approach. We want to get general site plan approval before we go through the expense of the plans for the building, the Board of Health and DOT entrance. But we would like to get approval contingent upon that because we do know those are required.
Eddie, the square footage, this is within the square footage requirement in that zone?
I believe so, but.
It's 8,400 square feet.
No, let me go check.
Okay.
That could be.
Well, while he's getting that, well, let's look at the letter.
Sure.
From George, he's recommending the site plan to be submitted as based. So that's not this? What is the difference? Educate us.
Survey?
Recommend that a current boundary survey be submitted.
Right, usually every 6 9 occurrence, boundary survey, like, site plan, we just, Tower Pizza,
So the whole piece,
Yeah, Carson Tower, right, we used to do, it's also a survey. If you think of any site plans that we do, there's always a search like the basement. Current survey with the surveyor's name on it, so I did this map, these surveys are created for specific. Client for specific use at a specific point in time.
and you would want to see the whole piece of property?
It's not necessary to survey the whole piece of property, but whatever lines are in proximity to what's being, developed, at least those lines should be currently attested to, shall we say, or surveyed. Maybe they are. I mean, it would appear that there is a survey of some sort as the base, and to just not really.
That this isn't a survey.
Survey submitted, so,
Yeah, I think our position would be, as you see, from this measurement here, which is an accurate measurement, it's a 217 acre parcel, the entire parcel. You know, where the proposed building is gonna be is 515 feet setback from the road. At least 500 feet. I mean, I suppose the closest difference would be to this property line here. Probably something more like 350 or 400 feet. So certainly I understand the need for a survey where you might be concerned about, you know, setbacks or, you know, the effect on neighbors, but we think that the site here is so far set back from anything, you know, close that a kind of a, you know, a survey really.
And you don't have, Matt, you don't have one? Like,
No, we have it. We'll give it to you guys. No problem.
no, okay, that's all.
There you go.
All right, number two. So that's the topography we already will hear more on. Well, why don't we go over now? So George, you heard from the applicant representative. What do you?
Like I said, typically it's 2 foot. I've never seen design work done on anything with a bigger interval than 2 foot. This appears to probably be USGS by the guest, which is created at a 1 inch equals 2,000 foot scale. Very high level general review, not made for site design. So again, I would really think that it should be 2 foot. Or better. 2 foot would be fine.
Is your concern just in general, the slab for the building is already there? And that part of the site is already cleared, so is the concern the driveway or just in general to understand the
General,
topography of the site?
topography, area survey.
Raise it then.
Yeah, I mean, again, if the slab is there, it should be shown as an existing feature. The elevation should be shown.
When was the slab put in?
I have no idea.
No, it's not. It's not a slab for the building. It's a slab that cows were fed on your.
Oh, there you go.
I think.
Sorry. Very well, there is a clearing.
12,000. Okay, for 1 story.
Right.
Okay,
2 foot intervals.
so that's fine.
No. Just the area that.
Thank you, Ed.
Yeah, not the whole property, you know.
And that's like a visual site thing to look at.
So that's this.
No, usually you would just, you know, you've got a, you know, these plans of what you're proposing to do. So an engineer to prepare the topo or, you know, you have the surveyors prepare the topo. If you wanted, honestly, you could use, there's LiDAR topo that your state puts out. That is at 2 foot interval. You could sum on where you back and then check it and then, you know, right? Because sometimes it's really good, other times it's So that's why usually if you're gonna use that product, they'll check it and say, okay, I checked it, and it appears like it's good in this spot.
And George, what are the things that information tells us, just so we understand?
Well, it gives us the slopes, right? It gives us the lay of the land, a lot more accurate, the cuts and fills, anything like this, any earth moving, specifically speaking to area of disturbance. Dutchess County Health Department's never gonna allow the septic approval without 2 foot contour attested to. I mean, yeah,
So,
DOT is not gonna approve an entrance on USGS Tobo, definitely wouldn't. So again, you're gonna need it for those permits. You're gonna need it for your stormwater. Calculations and permits. Again, honestly, given the distance away from sidelines and everything like that, so to the extent that you're not making a Swiss watch here. I mean, I would say look into the LiDAR topo that is available for free from New York State. You can download it from the GIS clearinghouse, spot check it. It's probably going to be fine for 3 days.
Okay.
But
all right,
How tall is the building going to be?
Excuse me.
how tall is the
How tall
building?
is the building?
I think it's noted on the plan here. Building height at the peak 32 feet and at the sidewalk 20 feet.
32 feet.
Trying to figure out where that's visible from.
like to do it, have them do
Make it hard on people, but I'm not sure how, is it gonna be visible from 199?
I'm curious.
Check.
Do what Jared asked, does that matter? Do I ask, does that matter? If it's really anything with it?
Not necessarily. Yeah.
Well, I think there is some, like a building elevation. That just tells us what,
The height has to be that
I
high.
understand.
Purpose of the building.
um. Those obvious, if they weren't, if they weren't going for, I don't know. But I mean, it's gonna be, what is it, do we have any idea what it's gonna look like?
The middle.
So what would you ask for?
Wow.
I mean, how,
Yeah.
with some like picture rendering sort of, and I wanna know.
Reflection of the sun's at a certain angle on drivers in the road. But that's, that seems kind of far-fetched.
The problem is theoretically, you come from Pulver's Corner, as you come around the corner, looking over Pinto's house, you're higher elevation than where the driveway's gonna be. So you potentially could see it.
Oh,
Kathleen's house sits a lot, sits 400 feet higher. She's been the one to see it. More worried about Bonneville's because it's right in the backyard.
So, wooded around it right now? Is it all, trees around where it is now? It's not that open
Yeah,
field
it's
there,
all-
right? So between Bonneville,
You're never gonna see it coming down the hills or nothing like that where it's located.
it's tucked right in on the tree right now. And like right now, is there a way to get to that spot?
Yeah.
Like,
It's like a.
There's a driveway in there right now.
It's farm here.
right.
The farm fields.
Well, I mean, if we were to do a site visit, we'd be able to have it where you can visit there. I mean, that's always find very good to understand the visual, and then we could decide if there's anything further needed.
Mhm.
That's what I was. All right, grading plan. George, grading plan is different than the 2-foot interval things, or what?
Well, that's
What they're gonna do?
Right, so you have your existing grades and then you propose something, so
Alright.
you're going to,
That makes
cut
sense.
material, fill material. Whatever. Put a ditch line in, and that would all be the proposed grade.
Will there be, where's their trees gonna be removed to do this? So for the driveway,
I'm not roads will be good, wide open, paved.
all the way to the blue
There's one section that is getting cleared for the septic area.
septic area?
Driveway would be right alongside of that.
And what in the building and parking lot, is any trees gonna be cleared there?
A few more. It's pretty clear back there. It's, again, was a spot for feeding cattle and stuff, the way it's open.
But rough estimate, how many, an acre of trees, more?
No.
Not
A
even,
half acre maybe.
is it,
Less than 27 acres are cutting on the other side of the road.
that's. So is there no limit to the, like how much they cut? There's no, so if they cut one tree, it's that window thing comes into.
Because we're under secret right here.
Right, so we do need to see where the current trees are on this plan.
Just noted on the plan.
Yeah, like a tree line, like, where,
Well, I trace it right off the aerial, honestly.
okay. Yeah, that's a real big thing we have to look at.
I understand.
National, so
Yeah. I mean, we walk over this, but.
Yeah. I think walk through all the- We understand.
but the trees have to be on there, yeah.
But,
I don't know.
when you do the walk around, you see that it's really a minimal, trees, but we'll say that I'm telling you.
that whole window thing then comes into effect and.
Understand?
Is there a drawing on this one that actually has the footprint of the structure?
No, that's essentially what we will do to show you
Right in here, correct?
where, no, it's not even that far away. It's essentially here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. So you see, you'll come in off here, as Jack says, off the road.
What's
There'll
this
be
right
some
here?
tree clip. I think that's an old farm.
Yeah, that's.
Driveway.
It's a six farm road that goes back. to
Yeah.
Prospect Hill.
Yeah, there's a road
barn.
that goes from 199 all the way to Prospect Hill Road.
This,
Yeah, the whole farm.
an old farm road here.
But he's moving the driveway.
The site distances here aren't good enough for the DOT. So that's why we want to move the
Right.
driveway entrance. I'm sure if they could do it here, they would, but
Is that Bonneville's?
Yes.
yeah, and that's one of them.
Yeah, this is they don't look like, but that's a sharp.
It is.
Sorry, Mark.
Right.
So.
Yeah, obviously the wetland thing, or what's
It's
this?
a wetlands map.
Here.
He said he goes slide it
And you
over
can
this way.
see. It's true that there are, I don't know how many, I'm gonna hand these out.
They need them. Thank you. So, there you go. Just what you're looking for.
And here's a bigger picture of all of the wetlands. Kind of on the parcels.
These are, which wetlands are these?
Those are DEC wetlands.
So where's the,
Sorry, they're
federal, these are the federal.
federal
The
ones.
DEC is blue, right?
Yeah, federal.
So there's no DEC ones?
No, I didn't think of any map DEC.
Nope.
So George, so. It's just because it's on the parcel in general?
So on the EAF question, yeah, it asked about being on the parcel. What I was saying, and again, you guys are gonna take a site walk, so that's perfect. Just make sure there's nothing. That's all. Just because there's, just like we saw one that was mapped that didn't exist. There are also existing that aren't mapped.
I see.
So given that there's a bunch of these around the area, it's just check it out, and make sure.
So
there's nothing.
perhaps you're gonna join us on the sidewalk, so we know what we're looking at.
It's just a question, yeah. Just doing a hard look under the review and the
Yeah.
seeker, so we can say we did it.
Okay.
And again, it's on the EAF, on the application, we can make the designation that there's wetlands on the parcel.
Right.
But when you get to the review, we would say there's no.
That's the follow-up
there's no
question on the.
Follow-up question.
Are they
is,
being
there any
impacted?
significant impact? And
No.
we said no, because it's just so far away from
Right,
anything.
so the answer is yes, they're on the parcel, no, they're not being impacted. Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, okay.
So. And what's, and we know about the elevation, we kind of talked about that, we want to see that what the building's gonna look like. And et cetera. Oh, did we talk about lighting? Is there gonna be any lighting?
So there's some lighting noted on the plan, right up here, by the parking area. And yeah, George was looking for a photometric plan. Respectfully, we would say we're kind of so far away, not really sure if a full photometric plan would work. Clearly, you noted the dark skies requirement.
Yeah.
Of course, that's perfectly fine. And should we note the height? Yes, we can give you a height for the poles.
I mean, cut sheets for the,
Yeah, a lot of the lighting manufacturers give it to you, like right on their website, if you say you're picking a certain light and. Put a mounting height in it, it'll actually give you, just like the cut sheet. What that photometric is. And that's typically just provided, and that's just so it's one of those. Ask and answer question, go, okay, this is the light we're doing, and look, it spills out this far by this far, clearly it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
We're not looking for any like lighting engineering.
On
or
the,
something.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Then I think.
and
It's
you
readily
heard
available from the manufacturer.
Armandro, you have a dark sky compliant,
Yes.
3,000 K or less than 3,000 K.
Yeah.
And et cetera.
All those things not a problem. You said.
Well, good. Eddie, what's going on? Everything all right?
No,
Oh. And let's see, those. Okay, those are just things. It's not true.
Then there was just, like I say, some.
Eddie is good.
revisions to the-
Eddie has determined that this is. You determined what is manufacturing,
So.
and therefore allowed in what, Warren, you have a problem with this?
So a lot of people with special use permit, I'm curious to hear what Warren says, that your zoning law, and there's a term in your zoning law that says agricultural operations. You don't think we fit under the agricultural operations definition?
So a slaughterhouse has to be specially permitted. And you also need a permit from Ag and
We
Market,
need a permit from ag markets,
Yeah.
we understand that.
right? But I didn't see where this is permitted under our zoning code. That's the thing.
So your agricultural operations definition says land and on-farm buildings, equipment uses, activities and practices which contribute to the production, preparation, marketing and sale of crops, livestock products as defined in the Ag and Markets Law. And then when you look in the Ag and Markets Law, livestock is defined as
Yeah, but slaughtering of cows is a totally different.
so you,
I mean,
I'm not trying to argue.
it's not my call. I mean,
Yeah, no, I
if
understand.
that feels that it's what
Well, that
manufacturing.
predates me. Drew.
Well, I didn't really think of
True.
manufacturing, right, just from a common sense point of view, but
Yeah, that's right.
preparation of livestock.
I don't, I mean. In this community, I don't see how we could say a slaughterhouse is not permitted in maybe it's an oversight in the zoning code that a ZRC needs to look at.
Anything that's not in the.
That it's not explicitly stated in the code.
Right.
But I think that. As a board, I think I don't know, under manufacturing or agricultural operations,
If had Drew issued a written opinion on this?
I don't think he wrote an opinion, but that's what they determined.
Okay,
And I agreed with him.
okay, I'd like to have, in the record that's the basis of the determination that I.
okay.
What's the slaughterhouse that's here zoned under, or what's?
Yeah, pre-existed, it was there before zoning we didn't have zoning until 2009.
Our zoning law says manufacturing as term defined. Any process whereby the nature, size, or shape of articles or raw materials is changed, or where articles are assembled or packaged in quantity. I think that's.
Sounds like a slaughterhouse.
We can make it, we could change.
If you think it fits,
Yeah,
fine with me.
no way or not.
Give me time.
But we appreciate
But it also-
pointing that out, but we'll make sure that.
It does have to be,
It requires a special use permit. The agricultural operation is permitted without a special use permit. The manufacturing requires a special use permit. We did submit a special use permit application, right? I would say that it's just permitted under an agricultural.
Did Drew just tell you verbally this, or did he send you an email saying it's manufacturing, do a special use permit?
have spoken
to Yeah.
Only spoken?
Yeah.
No email? Alright, but if we can get a finding written from the
I think.
code enforcement officer and saying,
I think he would put all the scope, then there.
right, I understand. So if we could just get it written out, that's what the previous building inspector found and you concur, blah, 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 and this is where we find it in the code. Sound good, Warren?
okay.
Good enough. How about good enough? Yes, what else?
What is the process for getting the permit from Ag and Markets? How long, how does that?
Ag and Markets and USDA are patting us on the back, wanting us as much as possible to do it. They're totally for it. We'll write letters to even say that.
Yes, how long does it take for them to approve? And what's the process?
We can find out.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a permit application. I haven't been asked to look at it yet, but
I'm sure.
take a look at it. Yeah, they have, and I did speak to Ag and Markets about the project. So they talked about there being a permit process of the application, so we've got the support of the agency and
We've had the USDA supervisors, I don't talk to this.
Yeah, that's a different permit.
Understand. So of course, obviously, if we make that conditional.
So,
Now, the one comment that I don't think I put in here for some reason was the SWIP comment. Oh, no, I did.
Yeah.
It's in there. Yep, there.
And on the plan, we noted as less than 3/4 of an acre of disturbance, which would be under the minimum for your
Yeah, it looks like
requirement,
it's-
but.
Looks like it's well over an acre when I scale.
Are you doing a short form EAF?
Yeah.
I think there should be a long form. Can you do a long form?
It's a more partial or equivalent.
Yeah, well, that'll give us that type of information.
Sure.
Right. Just when I scaled it, it seemed like it was over an
Yeah.
acre. You know, over an acre.
Matt, did you scale it out to get to your
But again,
0.75?
That's where the grading plan comes in because
Could be.
that's.
Yeah.
What defines that disturbance, but just looking at it and saying, okay, I think this would be disturbed. I was well over an acre.
We're under an acre with the disturbance. We'll scale it out, no problem.
Right.
What kind of waste is generated? You have like a dumpster, and then is there other like animal products that are?
It'll be a rendering,
Does that stay in the building till the person shows up to pick it up or whatever?
it's in a cool room.
And then so the only kind of runoff and that sort of thing goes into the drain, that goes into the septic.
Yep.
Anyone have any more further questions? No, I don't.
I have two.
Yeah.
I didn't see an ag data statement and it's in agricultural district 21. Even though you are a farming entity, that's gonna have to be done, right? And under our zoning, under manufacturing. 275-56-8. The planning board may require a wall, fence, landscaping, or other buffer to be installed where property adjoins residential use.
Yeah, we plan on doing trees blocking off the whole thing.
Yeah, especially with Bonneville's property, because the rest of the property looks like it's covered, but it's almost a straight shot from their back door. That's what I'm, it's. So if you guys could include whatever trees you plan on planting between the two. On the plan, I didn't see that.
Oh, right. Yeah, if they plan on doing it already, and then once we visit, then we'll be able to maybe further comment on that point.
I just figured 32 feet height at the same, roughly the same elevation with few trees in between.
Gravel turnaround, gravel slip, parking, lighting. Sign, is there gonna be a sign out by the road?
There's gonna be a sign by the road and so the dimensions are noted on the plan.
Oh, right, here it is. Up lighting?
So, yeah, I thought just some ground mounted like lights to light the sign, yeah.
That would probably be down.
Down. Same thing, less than 3,000 Kelvin, et cetera, dark sky compliant, shaded. Love it. All right, so, I mean. We need to schedule the site visit, I don't know, it should be during the day, I don't know, what do you guys? Steve, you need it to be like on like a weekend, or like a Saturday, if possible. Saturday could happen. George, that's not a problem for you. What, the 20th? Next weekend? Is that next, or the weekend that? Yeah,
This coming weekend.
That's Saturday, yeah, 2 Saturdays.
April 12th.
Yes,
Excuse me.
I'm in.
I can work.
The 20th, April. Sound good? April 20th?
Matt, you're gonna be around next Saturday?
When's your radio, when you free?
Can't get here before 11:30.
We propose the 27th.
You'd rather do the 27th?
If possible, that would be better for the landowner, yeah.
Everyone has the 27th.
Sounds good. But you know when the youth turkey hunt is? I'm not available that.
Actually, I think it's the 20th.
For the 20th?
I think it's extra early, yeah, for some reason.
Yeah.
I think it is.
I can't get online. I was gonna check that date.
Thank you, either, so.
Cause I'll be the turkey that gets shot.
So the 27th, and it's gotta be 11:30, you can do it? You're coming from, oh, Eddie, what,
I have thoughts, push to 12.
can we do it at 12? We'll do it at 12. 12 o'clock. And just me as, you know, right there, right, Ed? That works? At, you're gonna ride over. All right, so 12 noon on, Saturday, the 27th. Sounds good. Now, is there like, we can just all park there and then we'll walk up there? It's the safe way to pull off.
It's not the greatest corner, but I mean,
Okay.
we do it.
Mhm.
Say noon time, right?
Yes, high noon. Hopefully it won't be rain.
How's the flag out with buildings?
Oh, it's the cow feed slam. That's the subject.
Oh, it's going right.
So I think I'm not sure what your process is. I think our question would be, is it possible to schedule the public hearing?
Not yet.
Okay.
We need the paperwork to be further along.
No, contingent on getting the paper.
We need a complete application
Stuff.
and then we will schedule the public.
Okay, right.
Right, Warren?
Yes.
Yeah, and then, I mean, you guys are still dealing with this, you're gonna be dealing with that bat window too, so.
What's the date on it?
So, November. When can they cut trees? November what? Or the end of November or the beginning of November?
Beginning.
Beginning, so November 1st.
Yeah. I think they will let you do,
Okay.
I think they will let you do it in between if you have a biologist check, but that's the DEC's.
Right, so if you wanna cut inside the bat outside the bat window, when bats might be there, you have to have somebody. And I take it this is expensive, go, no, they're not cutting her the bat window, right?
Flagged it all out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then they didn't get it in time to get them down, so they didn't move forward, but. I know other people have cut and the DEC's allowed it with a biologist that comes out to look and says there's no bats here.
So that's the DEC, so yeah,
That's the DEC call, we don't have.
they have to contact the DEC to see. But like I said, get what we talked about, the topography and all these things, the elevations, all that. And this way, because, you know, to have the public hearing, I know, I understand, continue on, but to have, yeah, we will, you know, this way the public will have will assure that the public will have all the information. And be able to examine it, you know, preceding anything. Okay. Warren, nothing more on this? Okay. All right, thank you. Thanks.
No. You roll it up now. And then that's what the market, but there's nothing, and you need to look at this, I think they don't.
You want? Anyone, we have this email to us, correct? This has been emailed to us? So, I'm good. Okay, yeah, okay, one for, I'll get mine.
Nice words, yeah.
I can go.
Oh, yeah, you got two.
Yeah, one of those.
Thank you, Rick. Sorry, not excited as you gave it. One of us. So everybody gets. Yeah, all right. Yeah, it's fine. Oh,
Right?
thank you.
Thank you.
Can I put solar panels on the roof?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a that's not even, that's a type,
No.
two, two.
Type.
No, what's that?
Like one. I didn't know that.
Environmental.
No, the way we have it, in our code, we have, type one,
Oh.
type one solar
Oh.
is like, I think on the roof. Yeah, I think it is type the one, if it's a commercial operation, but it,
Ground is 2.
ground is two. And then 3 is the generation for off burn. I know, I didn't use the right.
Here.
Tier one, not type, tier 1, tier 2. Okay, well, I guess, Warren, you have an update to give us on,
I do, can we do it in,
oh, you want to do a attorney client?
or executive session?
Okay, so let's wait for that for 1 second.
Yeah.
And so let's finish with,
Right.
sure. Eddie, do you have anything for us? Okay.
Yeah.
And we're waiting to hear back from Stissing House about their parking lot lights. Did it,
Yeah,
nothing, they haven't got back to you?
They had come back, I'm from the registered letter, they said.
Okay, thank you. Oh, well, what about that, the compliance with the dumpster requirements? Now, I know they've never done a site plan, but the dumpsters are supposed to be like. Whenever we do a site plan, we require them to be enclosed, but there is something in the code, no, for the commercial businesses keeping the dumpsters
We'll look
neat.
into that.
Yeah, check it out. You might wanna go look at that. Yeah, if it's a, I know.
Yeah.
I know. I know, there's one like, I don't know, is that the town? But I mean, it's the difference between having not enclosed and then spewing everywhere. Yeah. They maybe need another one. Like, and okay, so that's that. Can I have did everyone get to look at the March minutes? It was just like, whatever, corrections, typo corrections. Can I have a motion to accept the March minutes?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? March minutes are done. Kevin, anything from the town board? No?
Town board.
I have a small trip report. I went to the Planning Federation conference for the first time. It was actually really very interesting and very, I met all these different people from different towns and heard how things go there. Some local people to close in this area, and I must say, well, I won't name who I'm talking about right now. It's very alarming, the lack of support the planning board in comparison to what we have here. With the lack of support, their town board and the building inspector gives their planning board there is astonishing. Like, absolute obstructionists. It's beyond like not support. They're actually obstructionists to the plan. I won't say it on camera. I'll tell you right. So I do appreciate the town board and how they support us, and
The only thing that I would say is that as a resident, not as a town board member living on Lake Road, Laverta's fence is an absolute disaster. It's falling down.
oh, right.
It looks awful. It's a total eyesore. It looks worse with it than it does without it now.
Lenny's big stucco.
Yeah, that's, I don't know
I
if
went there.
you went there. Okay.
Talk to him.
I can't tell you what he said.
You went there.
Well, he wasn't bad. He said that if he wants to come and fix it, he'll give him lunch.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, there's nothing in the code. Is there anything in the code about that? It's just like
Property maintenance.
property maintenance.
Yeah. Probably the only part of the code that says shall.
Large.
Yeah. Oh, I do have something. I forgot about that. I was contacted by a member of the public. Who's not a town board member. Just so we're clear. There is and I talked to you, Eddie, about this today. There is a business operating on Lake Road of someone's house who's manufacturing things and having 3 or 4 employees per day. And tractor trailer deliveries and cutting things like aluminum, like late into the night. So I told Eddie that we need to find out what's happening there and what's going on with that. So we'll see. All right, so with that, we need to go into executive session for attorney-client consultation. With Warren, our town planning board attorney. Do we need George to stay?
If you want.
Rob?
If he wants to go.
George?
I'll go home.
George? Eddie, yes, I'm sorry, Ed, I'm gonna have to make you stay. Do we want the town?
If they want, they could.
And the town board members, Janine and Kevin are invited to stay also.
Yeah.
Can I have a motion to that? And we are not gonna be making any decisions, so we will adjourn the public meeting at this time, at the end of. Have the vote to adjourn the public meeting at the end of our session, but we will not come back on camera.
I make that one. Second.
What did you say? What's that? The motion is to go into executive session and then also to adjourn the meeting once we're done with the executive.